Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Home Staging Talk Show Live. Had a little bit of technical difficulties with our new platform that we're using. So if you can hear me, if you would go ahead and please let me know that you hear and see me, that would be awesome. Um, so I am Jenny Norris, your host. Home Staging Talk Show Live is our 109th episode, and this talk show is hosted or brought to you by the International Association of Home Staging Professionals, IAHSP, of which I am the chairwoman. And so we have been having this conversation now for several years, which is pretty exciting. Um, and each week, our goal is to bring topics of interest to you that help you succeed in your business and thrive. So again, if you are watching, if you are tuning in, if you could just simply, oh, hey, Stephanie, good, you guys can see me. Yeah, I had about I did a whole countdown with the video and thought I was live, but there's a problem with syncing to, you can do it on Facebook. It also broadcasts into LinkedIn and YouTube, but there must be something wrong with their platform because it wasn't working. So I had to disconnect those and start over. But anyhow, welcome. Hey, Vanetta, good to see you here. So thank you all for joining me today. Hey, Florida, thank you for joining me. So the talk show, every week, our goal is to bring topics of interest to you and talk about challenges you might be having, solutions to those challenges, just interesting things that are coming up, things that are impacting our business and so forth. And so those of you that are watching, hey, Johnny, I'm good. Hopefully you are well there too. I don't know if you're in Texas or someplace else. But we had snow here yesterday, and then I think by tomorrow or sometime next week it'll be close to 80 degrees. And so anyway, just the bipolar weather in Colorado. But anyhow, so excited to be with you all. And today we are going to be talking about savvy. You're going to be talking about what that is, the big reveal. And then also the Real Estate Agent's Guide to the Home Staging Industry. Wanted to make sure that everybody saw that information. We'll be continuing our segment on staging hits or misses next week with John Reagan. And we'll be specifically talking, I believe, about living rooms and setting up living family rooms. So, hey, Young, good to see you. Hope you're doing well there in the East Coast. So thank you all for tuning in. And so tell me, those you guys that are tuning in, how is your market? How are things going where you are? And certainly last year was an odd year, and so my expectation earlier, or I guess last year after the a lot of the pandemic restrictions were lifted, was there be this glut of sellers trying to get their houses sold on the market, and it would turn into a buyer's market, which it did not. And so we are still, where I am in the Denver area, we are still definitely in a seller's market where multiple bids are being made for properties, and people aren't necessarily happy as a buyer because it's very, very competitive, having to offer more than list in order to get the properties. And from what I'm reading, that trend is going to continue for at least the next 3 to 6 months, is what the experts are sharing. So I'm interested to know how that's impacting your market as far as staging. There are people that will send me emails and so forth. And one person recently wrote to me and shared that two groups of stagers in Florida, and they're not IHOS chapters, they were different groups, folded because there wasn't enough business for the stagers. And so I responded, this was on Facebook, I responded, I said, that is a marketing and belief issue versus really a legitimate, not a need issue. And so the messaging that we send out as stagers is crucial right now and into the future. The market will eventually shift. There's just time will make that happen. Maybe normalize would be a better word. And I don't see us going into any sort of a deep recession, but we can't really predict the future. We plan. Some people do look to predict based on trends and so forth. And so, but right now, if you're in a market where, you know, real estate is selling and maybe you're hearing, well, we don't have to stage because the houses are going to sell anyway, how are you countering that? So Florida's saying in a seller's market where staging may not be just as important as before, do you see a pivot in staging to the new owner to stage decorate their new home? So sure, yes. So that's a great question. Um, Instead of focusing necessarily on the sell side, focus on the purchase side and getting them into the properties and helping them remodel, stage to live or decorate, and even doing that with people who aren't purchasing a property, people who are sitting in their houses looking at their walls and their dated furnishings and dated interior and wanting to update. And I just had a conversation with a client she's 70 and her husband's 75, and so they're looking at downsizing and want to get a jump on getting the property prepped. And she knows her property is dated, but she said the trades are slammed. So all the contractors and the people that do the work in the properties are extremely productive right now because people are staring at their properties and saying, man, maybe you should paint. I don't like this color anymore. I'm sick of that couch. So that's a great opportunity to be able to continue to get business. So that is all about marketing, right? So if that's something that you want to do, and a lot of stagers have been offering that for years, but to put that as a real focus, it's just all about your marketing and your messaging as a stager. And I'll share in my market here in Denver, it is very competitive. For real estate, for agents and so forth, getting listings, houses are selling. And yet I just did our numbers for March. I think I did something like 34 proposals, and we secured 30 of those projects on top of the ones that were carrying over from previous, from like February. People were delayed getting into March to actually stage. So we've been doing, sometimes two to three stagings a day, two stagings, two pickups a day. And so it's all about marketing. And we're doing everything from small condos that are like 500 square feet to doing proposals on penthouse condos that are 5,000 square feet and residential properties all over the place. And so when I did our numbers and saw that we have about an 87% close rate for March, and some of these will carry over into April. So I don't know if you are analyzing your numbers and taking a look at that. Your close rate is, if for those who don't know the sales term, the close rate is, do you secure the business? So you have an opportunity to provide pricing and information to a client for staging, and then what do you do? So the last 2 weeks we have focused on sales and closing the sale and negotiating. And so Young is saying in Dayton, Ohio, there's no need to stage to sell it, but you will definitely get a higher price when it's staged. And so Young is a realtor who has also incorporated staging in her business. So, and that's sort of like the sort of the thought for a lot of real estate agents. You don't have to stage. However, when you do, you'll get a better price. And so we talk about the benefit to the seller is the money. And when they're purchasing in a similar market, even if they move out of state and they go to a market that's also hopping, they want every penny out of the sale. And so the agents do need to encourage their clients to stage their properties because it'll help them get even more. Um, so that's really, really important. And knowing your numbers and analyzing where you are with your sales and your closing of the business. So if that's not your strong suit, I encourage you to go back and watch episode we did with Teresa um, Thomas. She and I talked about sales in the past. We did one with Krista Jessup, and she talked about the sales strategy and how to approach sales, because sometimes people feel like they're pushing themselves on somebody when they're selling their services. When you think of the word sharing information, sharing helpful information that will help people be successful, then that kind of changes your mindset. What we have to offer people is valuable. It's worth money, right? It's worth a lot of money to people. So don't be afraid of selling your services, and always take it from the benefit of the client. What's in it for them? Because as fabulous as all of us think we are, and our company and our services and our inventory and so forth, that is important. But what's most important to the client is the benefit to them. And what are they going to get out of working with somebody like you or me? And so the bottom line for everybody really is money. And it doesn't make people greedy or money grubbers to talk about wanting to get the best price. That's the reality of the market that we're in. Why not take advantage of it as a seller and be able to net the best price that they can? So when you're talking to your clients about why they need to stage, or they should stage their properties, is to help them get the very best price and to help buyers emotionally connect to those properties so it becomes the chosen one, not the one that they just sort of go, well, I kind of like that one, but let's say it was empty or it had a bunch of dated stuff in it. It's not as exciting as the one that looks, updated, contemporary furnishings, stylized, whatever word you want to use, that grabs the buyer's emotions. I just had an opportunity to do a proposal yesterday for a penthouse, And they had asked me originally, do I do virtual staging as a stager? And this is an agent I've worked with for many years. And I said, no, I don't do virtual staging. I don't believe in it because it's not just about the pictures, right? Houses, the photographs are important. Certainly people are looking online first in order to see if they're interested in the property. But pictures don't sell the property. There's other factors. And most sellers are going to be going to that property in person at some point and then able to connect with that property. They have to see what they saw online. It should be represented in that property in person. So when they walk in and it looks different, it feels different. It's empty. Some of the virtual staging people are even changing elements in the property, like wall colors and trim, um, which is a huge risk for the seller and the agent representing that property. It doesn't feel the same, and that is a risk for the buyer who then may not have an emotional connection and decide to pull out or go purchase another property. So it's not just about the pictures. And when I shared that with the agent, and I was respectful, but I just said I don't believe in it. I feel like it cheapens the process, and we've had to restage a lot of properties that have been virtually staged. She came back and wanted pricing for actual physical staging. So don't be afraid to push back when somebody asks you about a service and to stand up for staging, stand up for real home staging because it definitely works. Um, and we see that in our statistics over and over and over again. But you need to know what your numbers are and be able to take a look at if you are putting out proposals, or even as a realtor, you're going after listings and so forth, and you're not getting selected. They're either opting to go with somebody else, or they're saying, well, maybe, we're just going to test the market first. And that would tell me in my marketing and messaging that there's something that I'm missing as far as compelling them to move forward with the service and with me in particular. So you want to take a look at that versus spinning your wheels and going after projects and not securing them, because that's frustrating, right? And it is disappointing when we lose. First of all, nobody bets 1,000. There isn't one person, one real estate agent, one stager that gets every single project they go after. That just is not reality. And I think a healthy close rate, a safe close rate 50% or more, a healthy close rate 75% or more of what you go after you secure. And then I always make a note of why didn't I get the business? Did they find somebody who was cheaper? A couple times there's been where, not a couple times this happens, where the house is on the market already and they end up getting an offer, so they decide not to move forward with the staging. So that can happen. But why didn't they move forward with the staging? And then you would then take that information and then adjust your messaging accordingly in order to secure the business. If it's all about price, we've talked about this a lot. There's the whole March issue of our magazine, iHouse magazine, was all about price and value. And when you're focused solely on price, or the client is focused solely on price, that's always going to be hard to win. Whether you're a real estate agent and they're like, lower your commission, someone's going to go for 1%. There's a point where you have to walk away because you can't even cover your costs to serve that client. And it's not worth it just to have another feather in your cap of another property listed and sold, or another house staged when you didn't make any money, you didn't net a profit. So you always want to be analyzing your data for your business. And I'm not naturally analytical. I like looking at the numbers because as a business owner, I need to see where we might need to make adjustments in our process and so forth. And so I like seeing the stats as far as revenue, how much revenues come in, because I like seeing money just like everybody else. I like winning projects, and I like being the chosen one. And so being able to take a look at those numbers and know where your business is quarterly, monthly. I don't recommend looking at things weekly. I think that's too short of a time frame. And there's times when we have a lot of activity, and then there'll be a week where it might be kind of a lull. And when I first got started, I would panic when I had that happen, when the phone wasn't ringing and I wasn't getting emails for business and so forth. I thought, gosh, did everything dry up? Do people not like me anymore? Or are they not going to stage anymore? And I would kind of go in the fear box. And what I realized is business is cyclical. This week is spring break for a lot of areas around the country. Last week could have been spring break. So that could be a factor in your market right now as far as seeing activity and getting inquiries. And so don't panic. Take a look at your business, the biggest chunk, the smallest chunk, I should say, it would be a 1 month increment. And then you do want to analyze your quarterly. So here we are, the last day of March, March 31st. Tomorrow is April Fool's Day. So um, take a look at your first 3 months of the year, see where you are. How many projects have you done as far as staging? How many vacants? How many consultations? What types of projects have you done? Did you do staging to live? As Florida was mentioning, are you doing mostly vacants? Where is your business right now? So just kind of take a glance back. And if you don't know how to track that, you need to put systems in place to allow you to do that. So I know at any given time what our revenue is on a monthly basis and even annually because I track that. I track all new business coming in. And then through our merchant provider, I can see just how much revenue I've charged through our account on a monthly basis as well. So I like to look at new business. That's what I track on a spreadsheet and to see where we are. And if I have a bunch of proposals out, but I haven't closed those, then it's my time to go. I've got to start making the phone calls, reaching out to the clients, and encouraging them to stage where you are in the time frame. Are you ready to make a commitment and prod them gently, but be persistent because you can't just sit back and be like, "Well, they'll call me." People like to be pursued. People like to know that you want to do business with them. So analyze your numbers for the first quarter to see where you are. Now, the first 2 months of the year can be slower in a lot of markets because it's winter time. So now we're moving into the spring market, which should get, historically should get a lot more activity for us as stagers. So you want to be prepared. Um, and then if you're newer and you're like, I have no idea what my market cycle is, you're going to learn this, the first year or so, you're going to learn your market cycle. You're going to know when things have a lull. And then for us in Colorado, I discovered that right around Labor Day, there tends to be this dead time where things just sort of stop. It goes real quiet. When I lived in California, it was in July. There was always about a week where there was this lull. So when you know those times are coming, that's your time to plan. Maybe you decide to take a trip because you know there won't be a huge amount of activity. Or you'd use that time to do business organization or maybe take a look at what you have and do some ordering or fixing up of inventory that you have. And so use your time productively versus sitting back in a panic that you don't have any calls coming in. So, and then you can also line up other projects if you think that this resale market is going to slow down. And typically in our market, that happens the last quarter of the year from, October, mid-October, November, December can be slower. We never completely die off, but can be slower. So that might be the time that you pick up other types of staging, like holiday staging or staging to live, remodeling, decorating, helping people with those aspects that are getting prepared to come on the market in the new year. So be strategic about your planning, be proactive instead of reactive. And I hope that is helping you guys to kind of think about your strategy. For getting business and retaining business and tracking your success because to me it's exciting to see numbers and as long as your intent is to grow your business and you're being forward focused and your mindset is in the right place being positive and hopeful about expectations you'll be able to muddle through even challenging times. So when I got that email saying that these people had left the business because there wasn't any business for them, that they basically gave up. I just sort of asked myself, as I said, that the marketing issue and a mindset issue. You either believe you're going to make it and be successful or you don't. And I didn't get in the business to try to be successful. I'm going to try staging. I'll try. To me, and we teach this in our courses, that word try, you're giving yourself an out. You're basically attempting something and gosh, if it doesn't work out the way I want it to in the time frame that I think I should be doing it, I'll just go do something else. And certainly there are people that have to reinvent themselves based on market conditions or their particular industry and they move into something else. And that's fine. I feel like with staging, you have to give it time in order to build up your clientele and your business base. And the expectation, I'm sorry, my nose tickles, the expectation that you're going to be able to hit the ground and initially and have all this business coming in really isn't realistic. So there are marketing strategies in place that you want to hit the ground running. People can teach you how to do that. We teach that in our course that there's a very aggressive marketing plan that I know that somebody followed these steps. I would be shocked if they didn't have business coming in within 30 days. And then if they were able to sustain that, they would be um, they'd have a steady business coming in. And so I think people are attracted to the idea of staging, and they like the idea of transforming properties and decorating, and whether they're design background or what have you. The marketing piece of it is crucial. So you have to get the messaging out about your service and about your company and what you offer, and be really strategic about who you're targeting. So to me, there's not every property in any market is 100% staged. So what I mean by that, there's not any market in that I know of that's saturated to the point where no more stagers are needed. That just hasn't happened. And so again, it goes back to belief. You might be in a market where it's competitive, where there are a lot of stagers. Uh, as a stager, how many clients can you serve without killing yourself? Right? You have to ask yourself that question. The reality is, if you had 15 to 20 realtors calling you steadily, you would have a 6-figure to 7-figure business, depending on how you set it up. You would be very productive. And these are agents that are not even, I'm not even saying top producers. These are agents that might have 2 to 4 properties a month that are working with you to do consultations, maybe vacants and so forth. And you would have a very solid 6-figure business in that realm. And so we go back to, well, how do you get those clients? You got to market. You have to market yourself and position yourself in a way that you are adding value to their process. You're helping them achieve something. Um, you want to establish relationships, and that takes time. So this is not get in, quick and dirty, get established in staging and all this business. I have a website, I have a phone number, I have some business cards, and why isn't the phone ringing? You got to get yourself out there, and you have to strategically target the agents you want to work with, and the investors and the builders. So you have to be strategic about your plan for how you want to carve your business out, and then you have to go after that business. And it takes time to cultivate relationships. There's realtors that I work with that had a stager in the past who has gone out of business or moved away, and then now they're looking for somebody else. Every market has someone like that, an agent that has a stager that is no longer available or isn't doing the type of service they want. We picked up a client recently that was going to work with another staging company, and that company notified the realtor that oh gosh, we can't get you until the end of the month after committing to staging a week, 10 days ago. So that realtor got very frustrated and called me and said, can you get us staged this week? And I said, yes, we can. So because we were able to be responsive and take on the business, and I looked at the bigger picture of this particular client and the company that they're with, because I'd like to capture that business. So my value add, one of them, is the responsiveness and the ability to get a property staged quickly and not have to push somebody out. I don't like saying no. So, be able to say yes and then figure it out, be able to say yes and be accommodating and work with that client. So that's unfortunate for that other company that they've possibly lost. I think they've lost the business because that realtor said that he said, you're fired to the other company. Don't put yourself in that position where you're losing clients because of your inability to fulfill your commitments. Don't make a commitment if you can't fulfill it. That's the bottom line. There's even a national franchise rental company who did that to a client, committed, and then said, we don't have the product, which was shocking to me because they're a big national franchise rental company. So don't make commitments you can't fulfill. Be a person of your word. Follow through. To me, if I don't know what the situation was, why they couldn't fulfill the staging. If it was an inventory issue, you go buy more stuff. If it's a staffing or timing issue, I've worked until midnight in properties. You do what you need to do to make it happen. And so that's one of our marketing edges, one of our marketing messaging things that I will put out there is that you're not going to hear no from me. You're not going to hear we're booked out 3 weeks like it's a status thing. We're booked out 3 weeks because we're so fabulous. That tells me that, I'm going to go find somebody else as a real estate agent because I need my staging done in a week. I can't wait 3 weeks. I don't want to me, I don't want to lose that business. So it goes back to your numbers. How much revenue do you need to generate? How many stagings do you need to have to hit those numbers, and making sure that you're putting things in place to get there. So, um, so Lindy, hello from South Africa. I love South Africa. I went there when I was 16 years old on a performance tour, and we were sponsored then. I don't know if you know this newspaper's around anymore, the De Vaderland newspaper. and Jetem, which I believe was a perfume company, and we performed our dance styles from the U.S. to the South African audience, because back then, when I was in high school, we'd have a international competition, and the South African team would come to the U.S. along with Australia and Japan, and they would perform. So I love South Africa. We didn't get down to Cape Town. We were mostly in the Johannesburg area, Kruger National Park, and Sun City, which was really fun. So your challenge in South Africa, or any place, any country, any city or town where staging is not as well known, you're planting seeds of knowledge. You're planting education to the end client. And so and I was there when I got started 19 years ago, which is a long time, where I was staging, it wasn't known. And the market was hot. So people didn't believe they needed it. And in fact, I was told to go back to where I had moved from because they didn't need me here. And of course, I took that as a challenge. I'm like, I'm not giving up. But I marketed for 90 days straight. And I had a marketing background before I got into staging. So I know about marketing, but I put myself out there. I set appointments. I met with people. I attended events, handed my business cards out. I talked about staging. I did presentations in offices. I mean, you name it, I did it. And I did not have any calls for actual work. And it was the day before my first phone call came in, I had literally said to my husband, I guess I'm frustrated. I guess staging's not going to take off here because I have been doing all these things and I'm getting positive responses, but no actual calls for business. And so the next day, literally the next day, the phone rang, and it was a realtor that my husband had actually spoken with. He had a listing, a custom home that we had recognized from another business we were in, the owners. And so we chatted with her about that. And my husband asked the question, do you ever use home staging? And this realtor responded, I know what it is, but there's nobody here doing that. And so I then called her, and I was so nervous, but I remember calling her and I set up a one-on-one. And from that one meeting, I call this having an advocate on the inside. From that one meeting, this agent said, I like you and I want to help you. And most people are like that. Most agents aren't negative and mean and scary. She said, I like you, I want to help you. And she introduced me to the office manager, who then got me connected with the regional director for all the offices, and I became their preferred home staging vendor for 13 offices in the region. Did a lot of education, did not get every single, realtors then learned about staging. Did I get all that business? I did not. And I helped a lot of other stagers get established because of my educating of the target audience. But that was necessary in order to get staging to get a foothold. So, Lindy, where you are, and anybody else who is in a market where staging isn't as well known, it's an education process. And we're constantly educating our clients, constantly educating them. Never assume they know what staging is. Never assume they know how it can benefit them. Never assume that they know why they need to be doing that. So we constantly have to educate them. And as the market shifts and changes, um, we also want to be continuing to educate them about new strategies and new approaches and new ways that staging can help benefit them. So it's a constant education process. One of the things we teach in our staging course, so I'm the accredited staging professional course through Staged Homes, let me tell you how I work. And that was a saying that Barb Shores coined years ago when she started her real estate business. People need to be educated. You never can assume that they know what you do, how you do it, and your process. Never let somebody else define how you work. So let me tell you how I work. And then you share your steps and your process so that they are informed. When we jump too far ahead and we start, the first question I usually get asked on the phone, I'm sure you guys do too, how much is it going to cost to stage this property? And I haven't seen the house. So I have to back it up and say, well, tell me about the property. Tell me about the layout. What's the finished square footage, occupied or vacant? So now I'm asking questions so I know how to answer their questions, but also give them information that's going to help them understand how we work, how the staging process goes, so that they're more informed. This is not just about the price. And so, and I am a staging company that we do like to see the property in order to provide a price. So whether that's through photographs that I'm sent or a listing online that I can look at, ideally going in person and standing there and looking at the floor plan, that's our process. And I share that we don't do cookie cutter staging where every room is X amount and in there you get, a sofa, a chair, accent tables, a rug, one piece of art, and one tchotchke. That's not our process. I share that we are going to do the staging properly for the type of property it is, and make sure that each room has what's necessary in order to make it appeal to the target buyers in the best way. And certainly we do consider budget. So if somebody has a tighter budget, we're not going to put as much stuff in, but I'm never going to do something where it looks so sparse, it looks like it's unfinished. And so that's our process. I share that with the client because they don't know what they don't know. So always share. Thank you, Jennifer. And always share your process. And so Lindy's saying she's a financial person, so marketing doesn't come naturally. But I'm getting out there, meeting estate agents, so I'm sure it will take effect soon. Yes. So you have to keep planting those seeds. It is all about relationships. So the marketing creates the awareness. It creates the knowledge, people become aware of your company. And so whatever platforms you're on, and Donnie Fowler, I don't know if you're still in the room or not because I haven't scrolled back up, but Donnie Fowler is one of our keynote speakers at our conference this year, and he is an amazing marketing, social media strategist, guru, expert, whatever adjective I can throw out there, that is him. He has a business where he utilizes social media marketing very effectively, and because of that, has dedicated reps devoted to that particular company. And so is able to then take that knowledge and share with other people in other industries what we need to be doing in order to use these platforms effectively. So that marketing creates the awareness and the buzz, and then you're going to get an opportunity to work with the client, and then that's when you have to kick in as your person and establish that relationship. And it's built on trust. People that like you, they're going to get to know you, they're going to like you, they're going to use you, they're going to trust you, they're going to love you, and then they're going to refer you. And that's the pyramid of productivity. And there's a book called it's by Michael Maher. um, It'll come to me anyway. Michael Maher wrote this book, and it's about communication. And I just kind of pulled this out of my head. I wasn't planning to talk about it. That's why it's stuck in my brain somewhere. 7 levels of communication. Thank you, brain. 7 levels of communication. And I often give that out to our master's students because it's such a great book, an easy read. And what he talks about is most of us stay in what they call the informational zone, which is email, um, mailers, things that are going to send information out to people, but it's not personal engagement. And then so that's levels 1, 2, and 3. Level 4 would be like a handwritten note, a personal communication. And then 5, 6, and 7, personal phone calls, inviting them to events, and then one-on-ones. So where you're actually engaging with your client. And when you get to the top of the pyramids, the levels 5, 6, and 7, that's where the referral kicks in. So then your business is built on referral, plus you're still marketing. Even though I've been doing this such a long time, you can never stop marketing, because businesses wax and wane even within real estate and investors. So we're constantly putting it out there because we have a certain dollar amount and revenue goal that we want to hit. But at some point, you will be referred to other people, and that's being called the chosen one. And how you get there is being somebody that they like, they get to know, they use, they trust, they love, and then they refer. So it's all about relationships. So once you are able to get one-on-one with these realtors, you want to ask them about their business. Tell me about your business. How long have you been in business? What are the things what are your goals for this year? Where do you see staging fitting into your business process? How can it help you get more business? So you're asking a lot about them and their process, and then you listen to see how you can fit into their goals and their business process as a partner in their success. Right? So that's your goal. And then you have to follow through, be reliable, pick up your phone. Can I tell you guys, I don't understand why stagers don't answer their phones. Um, I'll get phone calls and I pick up the phone and I'm extremely productive. I've got a lot of hats I wear. When the phone call comes in, I'm going to answer the phone unless I'm with a client or doing something else, but I'm going to answer the phone. My message actually says, for a quicker response, please text me, because oftentimes that's a quicker way for me to get back to somebody versus having to then remember to go listen to my voicemail messages. But be responsive to your clients. They don't want to have to hound you for business. And when they're searching for a stager, they're going to be calling you and probably at least 2 to 3 other people in order to see who they want to connect with. You answering your phone or having a service that does that for you is really valuable. And I have at least a dozen times you're the first person who's picked up their phone. Thank you so much for answering your phone. I've called four other people. You're the only one who picked up your phone. And I find that surprising because it's a people business. You still have to connect with people. Relying solely on a passive website, quote request and then responding through email and not having that personal contact I think that's a mistake. You still want people to be able to reach your company. So again, whether that's you as the owner or somebody else that you put in place, there's companies that will like an answering service, or you hire somebody who answers, that's their job, is they're an admin person and they respond to the calls and they take the information and they're able to articulate what your company does and get preview set up or appointments. That's valuable. That's a really valuable role for your company. And Kimberly, I'm happy to share with you that. Thank you for responding, saying that you're enjoying the information. So answer your phones and be responsive. And then your goal is to just cultivate those relationships. And when you show up and you do what you said you're going to do, and you toot the horn of your realtors as well. One of the things with your social media marketing is I see a lot of staging companies. We're promoting ourselves and our staging, and it's within the staging groups that we are tooting our horn and showing our work and so forth, which is all well and good because I like seeing other colleagues' work. And we go, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. And we, sometimes I look and go, that's a really great idea. And I get ideas for what I can use in my own staging work. However, what might be missing is the point of marketing, the external marketing to your target client, and also partnering in success with your real estate agents. So instead of just doing an Instagram post where you talk about your company, why not talk about the property and put the real estate agent or the investor, whoever your client was, their information in the post so that somebody looking at that can actually reach out to them and get more information on the property. So partner in their success. I think I've said that now 3 or 4 times. Partner in success. So find ways to give them exposure and be a partner in them getting more business. So you can still promote yourself and your company to get business for yourself, but also take it a step further and partner for success for that real estate agent. Put their name and their contact information. Now, you wouldn't have before and after pictures in a promotion like that. You would just have the after. So you could I've gotten into doing the Instagram Reels videos at our properties. And so those are 15 to 30 seconds. We put it out there with music and so forth. And so I'll have one version for our company, and then I can do another version that toots the horn of the real estate agent, the listing agent, the builder, the investor, whoever you're working with. So you have to kind of think out of the box about what other things you can be doing to help these realtors advance their success. And what that will do is that's going to lock you in as their preferred partner. And then they're going to talk about you to other people because they're going to say, my stager does this, my stager does that. I remember talking to a realtor once. One of the things that we can give is referrals. So when you have your signage in a property and somebody contacts you, hey, I saw your information in a property and they're a seller. And you ask, who's your listing agent? Who you're going to list your house with? And they say, we haven't gotten there yet. We haven't chosen anybody. Ding, ding, ding. That's your opportunity then to refer that business to the realtor who brought you into that property and gave you the business to begin with. So you need to let your agents know that you are a potential referral resource for them. And of course, you spread it around based on the properties where the lead came in. And if it just came off the internet or what have you, somebody just happens to find you and they don't have a realtor, then I'd always take a look at where the property is located. I know a bit about the client, maybe the age demographic. So I'm going to connect them with the real estate agent that I work with that I feel would be a good fit. And then the realtor still has to win the business. But my goodness, giving them an opportunity to gain a listing that they wouldn't have had otherwise, that locked you in even more. And so this realtor said to me, in 9 years, my stager has never given me a referral, never even given me an opportunity. And I think there's a huge disconnect. It's not one-sided where it's always gimme, gimme, gimme. I need business. We have our hands out, like gimme, gimme the money. It's also being able to give something back to the agent to help them. And so one of the other things you can do is you want to be asking your real estate agents, do you have any events that you do during the year that I can support? Maybe they do like a Easter egg hunt or a fall festival or something in the summertime. And it would be easy you can write a check and say, here's to support your efforts. You could actually have a table that you set up, and it's not there necessarily to toot your horn. I've done this a couple of times where I actually did face painting. I'm actually kind of good at that. I have crayons they're actually watercolor, but they look like a crayon, and you can just draw right on people's faces. I don't get into all the glitter and stuff, but I've done that for real estate events. I have dressed up as the Easter Bunny more times than I cared to admit, and sat and had pictures taken to the point where I actually bought a costume because I had to rent one so many times. So, and I'm happy to do that. If that helps somebody with an Easter egg hunt to have the Easter Bunny there, and it's a cute Easter Bunny, it's not the ugly one with the ugly teeth and scary. I remember one year it was like the March Hare from Alice in Wonderland. That's the only head they had available at this rental place, and it was scary. And so I said, I'm not wearing that head. You got to find me something else. And so the one I did get, it wasn't supposed to go with the costume. The bunny face really looked stupid. He had this like really buck teeth and kind of dumb eyes. But that's the year I decided to buy my own costume. And so those types of things you can ask how you can support your agents. Maybe it's helping them stuff bags for the event. But be a partner in their success, and that locks you in long term. So it's not just gimme, gimme, gimme. Where's the money? It's also how can I help you grow your business? How can I help you expand and be more successful? Because a realtor that locks you in, you can have that relationship for 10 plus years. They're loyal. They're not going to go shopping around as long as you don't do something to make them want to go look someplace else, right? Where you don't show up, you don't follow through. And I've lost clients before. The process didn't go as planned. If something went haywire, and as much as you apologize or whatever, they might choose to go someplace else, and you use that as a learning experience of what not to do next time. And so, but our goal is to not have to continue to go after business all the time. New people, new people, new people. Is keep the ones that you have happy and find ways to support their business success. That's what you're after. So, hey, Karen. Um, and so, anyway, I guess I just kind of sharing from a perspective of marketing because it's so important. I did want to share a few things with you guys. If I can get my computer to work here. Here we go. Now, this is share my screen. Come on, do this, share screen. Let's see if this will work. Application Chrome tab. That's what I want to do. Here we go. So I did want to share this. If you guys can see this, can I show this in their show on stream? Go. Okay, there we go. So this is showing on the stream, and I'm going to try to open it up here. So again, this is my new process here. There we go. Okay, so you guys can see the Real Estate Agent's Guide to Home Staging here. Oops, what just happened? I'm going to try. Oops, okay, sorry. I just closed out the window by mistake. I was trying to move it over. Let me go get it again. Okay, hang on. Oh, I don't want to do that. Okay, so let's see. Here's my email, my drive, real estate agent stage for success guide. So this is a guide that came out last week. So we issued it to everybody, and it's shared publicly. So you should be able to get this off of any number of social media sites. And what it is it's a guide that we would love you to share with everybody, all your agents out there. So it's the Real Estate Agent's Guide to the Home Staging Industry. And what it covers is everything from the benefits to them, who to look for, who to hire, pricing, statistics, process, things like that, things that they don't know. And most real estate agents aren't, they maybe haven't taken a staging course and so forth. They don't really know what they don't know. And it's up to us to educate them, as I said earlier. So if I go here, I'm sorry, trying to get these windows to cooperate with me. So don't close things out. Okay, so so that's the home page there, the cover page. So the Real Estate Agent's Guide to Home Staging. And if I can click it here. No, I got to do it in the thing. I'm learning this new platform. I like this new platform for some reasons, some aspects, because it can go into other social media sites, but it's not as user-friendly. I'm getting used to it. Okay, so the content through here, overview of the staging industry. So it gives a brief history, how staging impacts real estate. So some of the statistics and so forth that we have in there. I make a big point, and this came out on our homestagingstats.com as well. We talk about everybody who participates in the process of selling a home. So here's the overview of home staging and so forth. So you can read these things. The impact, statistically in I think it was 2020 or 2019, we made an impact on 20% of the houses that were bought and sold. Okay, 20% of the properties. And this is a number that came from Inman. I attended a conference a year ago in January, and they gave the numbers. There was something like 5 million transactions or 5 million houses that were sold out of so many leads that came in. They were using it as a lead thing. There's like a billion leads given or some huge number, but really only about 5 million in the US. So then I did my numbers looking at the data that I know from my colleagues, how many properties that we staged. And I estimated 20% of the properties had been staged, which means we impacted 20% of the sellers, 20% of the buyers, 20% of the listing agents, 20% of the buyer's agents. And so you start doing the math, we make a big impact in the overall process of buying and selling a property. And the point I'm making is that why is it then that we're being asked to lower our prices when we're making an impact on increasing the price, the final sales price of the property, and how everybody who participates in the sale is being paid on the final sales price? You think about the listing agent, the buyer's agent, the lender, the title rep. So there's a lot of people who are involved in the process of selling, purchasing or selling a home. Even the appraisers' prices go up when the price of properties go up. Their service fees go up. Same thing with photographers and video people. They're not being asked to lower their prices. But why are we as stagers doing that? So it's understanding our value, and I really articulate a lot in the March issue of our magazine. So um, who to hire? We talk about working with a pro stager, somebody who has training and standards and is going to, represent them well. And so being able to locate those people, not the hobbyists, not the ones that are just, don't really know what they're doing. And if you're watching this, this is not an attempt to take business from anybody or insult people, but I'm a true advocate. I'll never change of education. I believe a firm foundation and success for staging starts with education, and we have to be willing to invest in ourselves in order to expect other people to invest in us as a business. And so you do yourselves a favor and get education. There's too many people that are trying to use HGTV or social media groups as their training ground, and it's taking you guys a lot longer than it really needs to for you to be up and running and feel confident about what you need to be doing in staging. Invest in a staging course. When I took my course 19 years ago, it was $1,100, and I didn't have $1,100. We just moved into a house. We were carrying two mortgages because we hadn't sold our previous one. So we were strapped. And so I remember thinking, like, I don't have $1,100. But what happened was the builder of the property screwed up our front patio, and there were like tire tracks and footprints in it. And so we went back to the builder and we said, you need to fix this or give us the money to fix it, which they did. They sent us money. I took $1,100 of that money and I went and attended the course. And that's what I did. We've even, for people that are listening or watching or want to get into the industry, you know, staging courses are on average anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000, let's say, for a good foundational business course. When consultations are 250 to 300 a pop, you do 5 to 8 of those, 5 to 7 of those. You've paid for your course. So why not get real estate agents, start talking to people ahead of time and saying, would you sponsor me for the course? I'll take the course and I'm going to owe you a consultation or 2 consultations when I'm done. And then that way you're not, if you don't have the money up front, you got to get creative about where you can find the funds and be able to make it happen. So when it's a big enough dream for you to have a business, you can find ways to make that happen. And so this article here, I encourage all of you to read it. And again, this is public. This is put out on a lot of different social media sites. It's on our iHouse blog. And so what this is the 7 ways realtors can protect their commission when paying for home staging. And please share this with the agents because a lot of them are not thinking along these lines. They want to include it as a service. And I'm talking about the ones even that are covering hands-on and vacant properties in particular. Those can take a big chunk of money, and when they aren't capping it or putting parameters in place to protect their money, they can end up pulling the bag. And we certainly experienced that. My husband's a realtor, as some of you know. And when the market started to shift in California, I remember this one particular client. We had staged the property, and John had covered my services on their behalf, so they didn't have any skin in the game. And they got I think their house was listed for like $595, and this was in mid 2000s. And they got an offer at like 575, and they wouldn't take it. They go, "Oh no, we're insulted. We're not taking that offer. We know that, um, people will come in and they're going to pay more." And so the listing expired. I never got paid. John never got paid for all that effort, and that property never sold. And finally, like 2 or 3 years, and that's when the market started to do this. When the market finally sold, I think they sold it like 350. It was really too bad on their part. And so we started looking at how can we protect money for the real estate agents so they're not putting it out up front with no recourse should the market shift, should the sellers change their mind or something like that happen. Or let's say that they agree to pay for the staging, and it's open-ended. And let's say it's a vacant property. We'll have, staging use fees or inventory fees, whatever you want to call it, on a monthly basis or whatever the terms are. That begins to add up. And the real estate agent's commission is a fixed percentage that they've agreed to up front. So when it doesn't sell, and it could be unexpected market shifts, it could be unrealistic expectations of the seller who wants a certain price that isn't legit. Um, that property is going to sit, and that's going to then be, let's say that ongoing inventory use is $1,000, and the second month for the third month, and another $1,000 for the third month, and then the fourth month. So all of a sudden, the realtor maybe paid $2,000 up front, and then had 3 more months of carrying. Now they're into it for $5,000. That's a lot of money out of their commission. And so this article will teach them ways that they can phrase things to protect their money. So there's 7 tips on that in the publication. So read that so that you can come from a place of knowledge, but also help support the realtor's commission. And this goes for anybody selling a property. The investor wants to keep their money, the builder and so forth. So just educate yourselves on ways that they can phrase. To me, the best option is the seller pays up front for everything, and the realtor says, I will reimburse you for up to X amount of dollars at the successful close, and that's in writing. And then no matter how long it takes, that realtor has capped their commitment, and there's not this ongoing expectation, and there's no outlay of money up front for the agent. Now, when this seller cannot afford to pay up front, the realtor might be covering that, but again, they have to cap their commission, and they need to put in writing, if the property changes hands for any reason or goes off the market, that I'm going to be reimbursed for X amount prior to that happening, and otherwise there'll be recourse that could take place. So, and there's also companies like Zoom Casa and other, concierge services that will pay for the staging on behalf of the client, and any other things they might need to remodel, new roof, windows, whatever it is. They're putting that money up front and taking that risk so that the agent isn't having to do it and the seller doesn't have to do it. So there's options for people. Then we talk about the process of home staging. What is a staging consultation? What is a hands-on staging? So, we throw those terms around and we think that people know what that means. When I got started, consultation to me was a complimentary service. Please stop using the word free. I say this almost every episode. There's no value in free. So those of you that are offering free courses, free seminars, free conferences, free stagings, free whatever, there's no value in free. Always use the word complimentary. Quantify the value and say, for you, it's complimentary because you're my special client. So, that consultation, I've worked in the environmental consulting field as a marketing sales development person. So our consultations were the initial discovery meeting with the client, and they were not paid. So I had a problem with that word in my head. And so I just had to kind of in my head turn it around to, it's a report, it's a service that we're actually giving ideas, and it is paid. It's a paid service. So then there's this infographic that any of you guys can download from homestagingstats.com and share. Then we get into the home consultation process. Again, infographics. They're very effective for people to utilize and share. Again, those are available for you to download, homestagingstats.com. And then we get into, when it comes to pricing, staging adds value, staging prices and a factor of the following things: logistics impact any staging project, etc. So you want to read through that. Facts about vacant staging. And then we get into the staging process for vacant properties, the top areas to stage. Did you know that most pro stagers can help provide recommendations and guidelines for property owners to update and change flooring, fixtures, counters, cabinetry, lighting, paint colors, hardware, landscaping? And so people don't know, but we don't tell them. So this again is designed to be very informative, and it's not just statistics on how staging works. It's information that agents need to know and can also share with their client. Then the 16-step vacant staging project planner, again, an infographic. Most people don't know that there's 16 steps that I've identified. Maybe you have 18 steps. These are the 16 that I feel most stagers go through to handle a vacant project. So when somebody says, well, gosh, that's expensive. Well, look at everything that's involved in the process. It's not just we stage your house, we show up with a truck and we get stuff done. It's all the prep work that went in ahead of time and the work that has to go in afterwards as well when we have to retrieve everything. So that's the 16-step vacant project planner. And then who to hire and why. And it's all about an agent's brand. And so that's a word that's thrown around a lot. What is your brand? What is your company culture? And so being able to reflect their brand, their quality brand, I put in here, cheap is not your brand, halfway done is not your brand, lack of standards is not your brand, and no education is not your brand. And I'm speaking to the real estate agent reading this, or the builder or the investor. I don't want to work with somebody who is all about cheap. I don't want to work with somebody who's all about just do it halfway, just do enough to make it look okay, just throw some plants on the counter and some pillows on the floor and call it a day. That's not staging, and that's not my brand or my standard. And so it's not only just getting any business, it's finding people who um, you want to align yourself with. And so um, real estate agents getting more listings, this is where the statistics come in. We talk about pricing here. And Joan Inglis, if you are watching, I did just update this a little bit. So I can actually go in and adjust pricing. I can adjust anything on these pages because this is a web-based document. And so the average pricing that I put in here is the average based on the statistics that we track. And so I did up the luxury budget, and I did say, actually, this is the old version, so I just updated it online. So it does say for properties, it could be anywhere from 2,900 to 6,000 for the luxury. And I did put a qualifier in there that the pricing for the properties are going to be dependent on the market, how many rooms are being staged, because this was an example for 5 main rooms, not an entire house. And the price point of the property. So that if it's a real luxury and you're doing 10 rooms, of course the price is going to be a lot more than one that's a luxury. And again, luxury in a market, those who have taken the LHS designation, is what? It's a property that's anywhere from 2 to 2.5 times the median or the average price property. So if an average price property is 350,000 in a market, that means a luxury would be anything above 700,000 for most for that market. If you're in a market where your average price is 800,000, that means 1.6 to 2 million. That would be your luxury market. So it's all dependent on the market people are in. So, but I think pricing information is important because we certainly have had NAR come out the last 2 surveys they've done. I haven't seen the one for March yet. I don't know if they did one for 2021, but 2019 and 2017, the average price for staging being quoted at 350 and then 500. That doesn't fly with our industry. That's why we have to be the ones putting information out. And then statistics, and then educational courses that they can attend. So that is the book there for you to be able to reference and use. And can these be purchased in packages? So you can actually download, Julie. You can go to the link. It is a web link, but you have the opportunity to download it as a PDF, and then yes, you could print these. I'm planning on doing a set that I'm going to print and mail out to key offices and so forth. But sure, you could definitely print them. I am going to get some pricing. I've actually asked our printer for pricing on printing these, and I can share that with everybody. And I don't know what the minimum quantity is. I said 50 to start off with, so I don't know what his minimum would be. But yes, you can definitely use those. I downloaded them all as a JPEG. I created a PDF, then created JPEG images. So I actually have just physical images of each page. You can use those as for marketing purposes. You can send just the page on pricing or stats, whatever you want to do. It's here. It's for you guys to be able to use. So please do that. Thank you for asking that question. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this. All right, so let's talk about Savvy. So we have a program called Savvy that I started teasing everybody about in the industry, and this is what I'm going to wrap up with. And so Savvy stands for Special Access to VIP Vendors Year-Round, SAVVY. And what we are putting together as an association for the entire staging industry, so it's not necessarily going to be association specific. Anybody can access it that has a resale license, and there'll be different levels of participation based on membership and so forth. But if you're like me and you are acquiring inventory, you're at that point in your business, and you have reached out to certain reps, and even through our wholesale program, we reach out to the reps, and then there is no follow up. It's very hard to place an order with a company whose reps don't call you back. And so the ones that are responsive are getting our business. The ones that are not aren't getting our business. And then they'll say, well, nobody's shopping, nobody's buying from the staging industry. And it's because the company wants to do it, but it's the reps in the field that are dropping the ball or don't see staging as legit or are slammed or whatever reason, we're just not getting the response. So this program will be a way that we get to control that process in a way that benefits not only the staging industry, but also the wholesale companies that we're working with, that we're partnering with. Because then we are basically creating a portal through which everybody can then shop, the wholesalers, and we're going to make sure that they have live product that's available. that they will have to be able to control what they put into the system. And I'm asking a lot of these vendors to, I don't want 5,000 SKUs. I just get overwhelmed when I think about all the couches and things I have to look through. Narrow it down so that it's the price point that stagers want and the styles that we like. So narrow the SKUs down. But the biggest part is ensuring that they're getting the orders and that they're going to be processed. That's the key thing. That you're not just looking at something and then you can never get to the ability to actually even place an order because you can't get anybody to call you back or to respond. So that is what we are doing. Hey, Sandra. So Deborah, the link for the real estate agent's guide is on HomeStagers Professionals Group. It's on the public iHosp page. So it's posted there publicly. I posted it like 30 different places. So if you can't find it, just email me and I can send you the link. And anybody who's watching, you don't know where to find that real estate agent guide information, my email is up here on the screen, jenny@ihosp.com. You can email me and I'll send you the link to the online version, and then you can download it, use it, you can share it. It's public. So we wanted to get into the hands of the real estate industry as an educational tool and be proactive about getting our messaging out there. So anyway, so Savvy is coming. The platform is being built. We are in testing mode right now, beta test. And so I was hoping to have it to be able to roll it out today, but that didn't happen. We had a meeting yesterday, and we are, we are at the point where it's created. The platform is there; it actually works, and so forth. We need to get some beta testing done with actual vendors. So that's our next step, is to get them in there. And so as soon as I'm predicting within the next 30 days, we should have this portal. What I don't want is to release it and then have all these like glitches and issues with the process, because that would then, it would not reflect well on us, and it just will frustrate you. So we want to make sure we have the time in place. But I've got 3 tech guys working on this on behalf of the industry. We have some other things we're working on with some other third-party people that are going to be very exciting. We're really, really excited about an opportunity that has been shared with me this week, and will be something hopefully you guys will all be excited about too. It's going to make what we do, as far as moving things in and out of properties and the things that we use, the furnishings, a whole lot easier to move, store, and use. And it'll be specifically for staging. So I'm excited about that too. And I'm teasing you with that because as soon as we're able to share that information, we will be doing that. If any of you guys are going to Vegas Market, let us know. And we are partnering with the Live Broadcast Network to get our name out there and to work with our vendors and so forth. And I'll give a plug for our conference. It's coming up in September. We have some great things planned in the works. We have our keynote speakers. We have Donnie Fowler, Chris Widener, who'll be talking about all about impact, and his book he just wrote is amazing. You all need to get a copy of that. We'll have copies for our VIPs that will be able to get signed at the conference. And then Ravi Huthesing is going to be talking about pivoting in his book, especially created for business and entrepreneurs. And then we have other people that we are working on lining up that I cannot reveal at this point. And then thank you to all of those that did submit to speak. The call for speakers ended on March 25th, and I honestly haven't looked at anything yet, but we will get to that and get our leadership committee involved to make some decisions on who we're going to be having chair at our conference in September in Denver. iHospConExpo.com is the home staging family reunion, iHosp Conference and Expo, and our theme, of course, is SOAR, SOAR, seek opportunities and rise, and reach new heights of success in your business by coming and learning what you need to do to be successful long term. So that's it for the show today. I will have a guest with me next week again, staging hits and misses. And if you have anything you want to share on that, if you want to send pictures to us or be part of that session, just simply email me. I think we can have as many as 5 people in this platform at a time on the screen. So it'd be kind of fun to have a chat about things that we do that are good and things that we shouldn't be doing as stagers, things that we've evolved from, and just have some fun and in a kind way, not be nasty critic with other people's. But the first episode was last week. I used my own pictures from back in the day and was really honest with what was done back then that was acceptable. I certainly wouldn't do today, and some of the good and some of the bad, and because staging continues to evolve. So join us next Wednesday when we'll have more staging hits or misses and some more updates for you. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I always appreciate you joining me, and all of our sessions are recorded. They're on the homestagingtalk.com website. And on our YouTube channel for IHOSP, the association, you can watch all the past episodes. This is the 109th episode. So there's a ton of information out there for you. And I'm happy to help you grow and thrive